Commendations. Please welcome Patrick Jenkins. Now, Patrick is the deputy editor of the Financial Times. Patrick, it's very, very good to see you. And let's talk a little bit about synergies, because there is an incredible synergy between the aspirations of the MAIAs and, in fact, the FT's financial literacy and inclusion campaign. So in what way do you see them complementing each other?
Well, I think they're hugely complementary. As Michael said in the introduction, there is no one organization around the world that can tackle this truly global issue. So it really, really depends on impactful work that is collaborative around the world, but probably localized. So while the FT, we set up our charity to promote financial literacy, as you mentioned, FLIC, we call it for short. We've been going for about a year now, and we're very much in the kind of startup phase. But even when we are fully developed, we're not so arrogant to believe that we can solve this issue on a global basis. We're starting in the UK, and we're going to be expanding to other international markets. But we are going to be working closely with other organizations. And I think, the key is teamwork.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, there is a need for this literacy because, we have this knowledge gap. Some would argue that it's a bit of a scandal, particularly when ordinary people who are under pressure, they're losing money in scams, or perhaps they've been badly shortchanged when they've invested in trusted brands that have either gone belly up or they've fallen short. Is it too dramatic to describe it as a scandal?
No, I mean, I often refer to it as a scandal. I think it's a kind of unrecognized scandal in many ways. You mentioned earlier on the extent to which literacy has been so well developed around the world that far more people than ever before can read and write. And yet financial illiteracy is far more widespread and actually can do just as much harm to people's livelihoods and mental health, as Michael mentioned earlier. So it's one of those unrecognized scandals that I think we all have a duty to try and address.
And I know it's something that you take very personally because you grew up in South Wales. So there were things which you saw in that environment, but also things which you reported on when you were working as, well, you are a journalist, but when you were out there in the field.
Yeah, I mean, I think, much like Michael and, having built a career in finance, I built a career in journalism, but in financial journalism. So, my years have been spent liaising with the very wealthy, the very, those who have succeeded, if you like, in the financial world. And having grown up in a not particularly poverty-stricken household, but certainly surrounded by a lot of poverty day to day near the South Wales valleys, it's always been something that I've been very aware of, and kind of puncturing the myths around finance and trying to, as Michael said, a lot of it is more straightforward than people imagine. But there's this general fear of finance, of maths, numeracy. Generally, there's a kind of unwillingness for people that people have to engage. And so if we can kind of coax people to kind of want to learn because they feel that it'll make a difference to them. And then the other side of it, I do think, again, I've had close contact with this side of things through my journalistic career, is frankly the sharp practice that some financial services companies have engaged in for years and years. And obviously we're seeing a lot of that in the crypto space at the moment. But, making sure companies are held to account as well as individuals being educated, I think is a crucial part of the exercise.
Okay, Patrick, we've got about 30 seconds left, but is it time to include financial literacy on national school curriculums?
I feel very passionately about this. Absolutely, it is. It's very, very rare that it is included. That's true in the UK, where we're focusing our current work. It's there in theory, but it's kind of voluntary most of the time. This would make a massive difference. And if you look at school curriculums around the world and what is on them, it's astonishing, frankly, that basic finance is not there. it's seen as a kind of afterthought, and it would make such a difference to include it.
Okay, Patrick, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. I'm going to sit back because I know that you are going to reveal the winners of some categories. So if you could say what those categories are and then name the winners, and do feel free to do a drum roll. Everybody else has been, so don't feel excluded.
I feel the pressure now on the drum roll front, but I'll see if I can come up with something. Yeah, the first category that I want to focus on is the best non-profit in a developing economy. And if I can get my drumsticks ready here. The winner in this category, and also actually the highest scoring entry in the whole of the MAIAs this year, was Cha-Ching by the Prudence Foundation. It is described by one of the judges as a powerhouse entry. And having looked at it myself, I was hugely impressed with the quality of their work. It's a course of 18 music videos targeting children between the ages of 7 and 12 when they're forming ideas about money, but not necessarily being formally taught. These have been translated into 13 languages and viewed 93 million times on the organization's website and social media channels. The Cha-Ching curriculum is currently live in 13 markets across Asia and Africa, and 870,000 students have undertaken the curriculum at school, and 23,000 teachers have been trained. The thing personally that I really liked about this is both the kind of, as well as the passion. It was the idea, a kind of original idea of how to communicate financial literacy, and then the reach of it. Huge numbers of people have been reached. I should also mention the runner-up in this category, which is Ahora y Siempre by Fundación Fin Social in Colombia, which focuses on children and young people in states of vulnerability, developing saving habits, entrepreneurship, taking care of the planet and the broader community. And this is a much smaller scale project, but it works very impactfully by working face-to-face, aiming to teach young children, their parents, and the wider community. Okay, so the second category I want to update you on is the best non-profit school-age education. So this was another important and hotly contested category with entries from all around the world, although the winner and runner-up were both very strong entries from the US. So I'll give you a little drum roll. And the winning entry here was FinEdge, a one-semester research-based financial education program for high school students, created by experts at the University of Chicago. And it's based very much on the kind of learning science and behavioral change research. The goal is to encourage sound financial decision-making and, in their words, embracing the messiness of real-life financial decision-making rather than simply transmitting financial information and facts. Again, I was personally very intrigued by the work that they've done, very professionally put together, as you might imagine. The runner-up in this category, Gifting Sense, has a very different approach to the development of money skills and is focused on the building of an ability in children and later as adults to think before they buy. Equipped with a Does It Make Sense calculator that creates a pause before purchase, Gifting Sense hopes that when kids learn how not to waste money, families experience increased harmony, improved financial well-being, and the knowledge they are protecting the planet. These two winners show how diverse the approach to money awareness can be and needs to be if we are really to change the way we all use money. So a real reflection there of the awards overall, I think.
Absolutely.
With that, back to you, Juliette. Thanks.
Thank you very much for that, Patrick, and for the excellent drum work and really giving us a good idea about why those winners were selected. Some excellent work going on there, and congratulations to them. Okay, there is more.